C. Libraries Update, Dr. Mabe and Ms. Jensen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Casey, for the opportunity to give you an update on successes of the Chesterfield Public Library. Carol and I are going to review some data and some stories about our library operations. I think you probably obviously know that there we go. CCPL or CPL is a beloved public institution comprised of branch libraries, professional and technical staff, materials of all kinds for all ages and all needs, and programs that inform, educate, and entertain. This is all easily available to everybody in the community without a fee. However, the library is not about its staff, its services, and its resources. It's actually about, and I turned it off, see? I still am doing this wrong.
The right arrow takes you forward.
That's what I was pressing. Yeah, see, there you go. Pretty good, huh? It's transportation's fault. You should watch out for those toll booths now. The library is about its people. The library professionals who develop and deliver programs, services, and one-on-one learning opportunities and technical assistance for the library customer. But it's also about the customer's quality of life. Much of our impact is on literacy. Everything we do is about learning. But consider some of the programs that we offer that actually make a difference in the quality of life. We do pre-K story times that actually introduce the love of reading to our youngest residents. We provide author and local visit fairs that actually encourage people to not only use books, to buy and collect them. RVA Basics, which supports the learning and the reading and the applying of reading skills to life. Our summer learning program, which definitely reduces the summer slide. We have a unique matchbook service that connects customers with books and that match their interests. Book bundles that actually literally provide collections in a single bag. And then book groups, which actually encourage people that read similar information to get together and discuss what they've learned or read. So how well are we doing? I'm going to let Carolyn tell that part of the story.
Thank you, Mike. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to provide an overview of our system's performance over the past year and the past couple of years from the numbers perspective before Mike speaks more to the human side and the public side of what we do. So to sum it up, post-pandemic business is booming. All major metrics we use to gauge performance are headed in the right direction. This year we saw about 2 million checkouts, about 1 million in-person visits. That is very close to or exceeding pre-pandemic numbers. So we're very happy about that. You'll notice, I know it's small, but you'll notice in 2024, a slight bump there in the numbers, and that was due to Midlothian opening. If you were there on that day, you know how many people were there, very excited. It still continues to be our highest usage branch-wise. They had their biggest summer of the year this past year. So overall, we're very happy with 2025, where we're headed, especially since one of our branches, as you know, La Pratt, has been closed for just about the whole year. So that's performance from 9 branches, essentially. A similar pattern with library card holders. We have nearly 100,000 non-expired card holders in the county right now. We're signing up more people than ever every day. In 2024, again, slight bump, and that was because we had very special commemorative Midlothian library cards that people turned in their old card for to get their brand new card. It means that much to them. It was very special. We're still above 2023 levels. Signing up card holders and getting a card holder to everyone in the county is an absolute priority for us. We really do believe that if you do not have a card and you don't use the library, it's probably because you don't know all the things that we do. We do a lot more than we used to, and we offer more of a community center approach than simply a learning institution. similar trends with library programs. You can see the blue line is the number of programs. The orange bars are the program attendees. So I really enjoy the fact that, yes, the number of programs is going up, but even more important is the number of attendees. It means we're reaching more people, we're reaching newer people, and it's a good investment of the time that is spent. Library programming, which Mike will absolutely speak to in a few minutes, encompasses, as you know, arts, culture, history, STEM, general learning programs for all ages. Many of the programs that are included in this graph are story times. They're children's story times geared towards young children, helping them develop literacy skills, learning skills, prepare them for entering school. We add story times all the time, and they consistently fill to capacity. I don't think we could ever have enough resources to provide all the story times that the community wants. And that is because they recognize the importance of that foundation for children as they're entering into school. Developing that love of reading and learning is one of the most important things you can do for your young child. Collections. The graph that you're seeing there with the orange and the blue shows our circulation. The blue is our digital circulation, and the orange is our print circulation. So it is definitely true that, especially since the pandemic, our digital circulation has been increasing. It used to be about 22% of our circulation. It's now about 38% of our circulation. That's a great thing. It's also an expensive thing. As you know, we've talked in the past about how digital materials cost more, but that is how people are wanting to read. At the same time, that's 1.2 circulations of print materials. So they're still reading print materials, and people like to get the materials a number of ways. So it's a constant balancing act in how we spend the dollars in the collection. The performance of the collection, I would note that our turnover rates, which is basically how many times an item goes out in a year. So 12, if it's a month checkout, say approximately 12 would be it's checked out constantly. We're between 9 and 12 for our new materials that we purchase, which means we are buying the materials people want, and they are continually being checked out. So again, speaks to the efficiency and to the performance. We also offer, if you don't know, we offer non-traditional collections or library of things, if you've ever heard that. It's the same principle of having a collection of items that people can share as a communal resource, but they're applied to other items. And so we do that with things like STEM kits, with toys, with museum passes, with nature backpacks, and they're very, very popular, very consistently checked out, and almost always holds on that collection. In other collection news, one of our major vendors, you may have heard, Baker & Taylor, recently declared bankruptcy. Definitely sent kind of shockwaves through the library world, as it was kind of sudden for some. We had been paying attention, so we had already been exploring other options, and we're placed very well to shift our business over to our other vendors. So it should not be an issue for us. Just wanted to report out on the holds mitigation funding impact. If you remember, about 5 years ago, the board very generously approved an increase to our collection budget to reduce our hold queues, which is how long you have to wait for an item that you have placed on hold coming into the library. At that point, our hold queues on print material was 8-to-1, which meant you would wait for about 8 months. We put forward the argument that customer service would look better if we reduce those hold queues, and in fact, we have achieved 5-to-1 hold queues with that increase in funding. It is more expensive than the $375. We predict that will increase over the years, but right now we are managing that very well. So thank you for that. One last item related to the collection I wanted to mention is that we are going to be, in the name of efficiencies and responsible use of the resources, we are going to be trialing with a vendor called Unique Services Management. And that is a third party that follows up with the accounts of library card holders where the materials are long overdue. And so that would be an attempt to get those materials back to the library so they can be enjoyed by everyone, and just shows we're protecting the resources. It's not a problem for us, but just in the name of efficiencies and good stewardship. Once again, very small, but I'll call it out for you. Benchmarking data, this was shared in a recent collection audit. We met with the Budget Audit Committee. The audit department spent a lot of time looking at our collection practices, at our selection, at our spending, our maintenance of the collection. We got commendations, very good comments on that. In fact, one note that was funny at that meeting was that they searched for a bunch of books in the library and they could only not find 2. And even then, that could have been in someone's hands in the library, quite possibly. So we were very pleased with that. Great use of the resources. I want to note that at the top, you've got expenditure per capita, and we are at the bottom of that chart, but we are middle of the road on circulation per capita and visits per capita. So this is demonstrating the efficient operations and the prudent use of dollars, and it's turning per capita spending into strong performance on circs per capita and visits per capita. So we're doing a lot with what we have. We have a robust customer survey program. We survey every single cardholder that we have at least once a year. We ask them, would you recommend our library system to others? We have a score out of 10 of 9.47, which is extraordinary. It is a wonderful, wonderful score, and it's because people do love the library. The high scores almost always stem from an appreciation of staff and the customer service. That is the thing they appreciate the most about the library. We tag every comment we get, every suggestion we get. If it's something that we can implement immediately, we do it. We pass it on to management, we pass it on to staff. If it's something that can be done, we absolutely do it. If it's longer term solutions that are needed, then we put that into our strategic planning process and we work on those. And finally, speaking of staffing, I just wanted to note for you that maintaining that level of customer service is our #1 priority this year, which translates into, from our perspective, funding our current part-time staffing complement. As you also know, we have started we're in the middle of a part-time to full-time conversion of staff. We had a ratio of part-time to full-time that was not where it should be. It was basically 60-40 the wrong way, 60% part-time, 40% full-time. With additional funding approved by the board, we went through 4 years of transitioning that, and we flipped that ratio, which is a great thing. It still means that we have 40% of our staff that are part-time staff, and those staff, for various reasons over the past few years, they have gotten more expensive. Those positions, the PCNs, have been reduced, but the positions themselves have gotten more expensive. So while we are very committed to continuing the increasing of the part-time and increasing of the full-time and reducing the part-time ratio, really what we want to do is just maintain that 169, 170 FTE staffing level, which we have experienced over the past few years. And now I will turn it back to Mike.
So what are we doing with the staff in addition to helping with the information and learning needs? They develop, implement art and cultural programs that meet the needs of the customer. We do that on our own, but we also do it with other agencies and other partners. One that we want to sort of highlight is with Cooperative Extension. Their demonstration gardens to the side or to the outside the Central Library actually are a pretty good learning institution. We actually participate with that. There's an awful lot of gardening tactics and things that are replicated, and we make sure people are aware of that. We also, though, offer maker programs that actually incorporate innovation. We have hands-on programs that incorporate creativity. The library staff, are actually doing hands-on stuff with passport and notary services. We're trying those out. A couple of comments from customers that actually compliment us on the program. One customer said, "This program was amazing. I told my friends about it, and now I look up every program you have on your schedule on a regular basis." Another one that actually highlights the kind of customer that comes through more regularly, uses our services in all locations. She says, "My daughter had a blast learning about one of her favorite topics, and I love the opportunity to supplement our homeschooling with educational and social events." There's also specialized programming. One particular program called Open Minds Through Art, or OMA. This is an intergenerational art program for those living with dementia. The program actually pairs intergenerational volunteers with adults living with dementia. I suspect some of you may have attended this. It's a very fascinating program. In fact, it's been very popular. I've attended that. There's an awful lot of comments about that particular program. We also, though, have author events. One particular one we'll highlight was Sharon McMahon. She's an author of some note. We actually have that scheduled for the Beulah Recreation Center, but it was so popular we had to move it to the Manchester Middle School to meet the population size. A particular customer there said, "I felt proud and excited that Chesterfield Public Library prioritized an event of this caliber. Sharon is a national treasure, and I'm still in shock that we're able to see and meet her in Chesterfield." I'm going to suggest to you that she wanted to come here. It is not just about we were able to get somebody coming through. They're anxious to come through because of the type of library system we are. We also have a lot of other partners, some that I'll highlight. Our Friends of the Library is certainly priority for us. They do the book sales, they help us fundraise, they promote the library in the community. Schools, we certainly support their curriculum and help them with the summer reading or the summer learning partnerships. The Rotary has been a very popular partnership with us of late. More recently, they've actually raised funds for us to develop homeless care kits that we are now able to distribute at all the branch libraries. It provides information and help to the homeless, socks and a hygiene kit and so forth, plus information that talks about where else they can get access. There's also the Basics, which is a coalition of private and public partners that we actually help. They actually sort of feature us as a prime mover and shaker in their particular area. In addition to the partnerships in that way, we just happen to have those 10 locations that make it easy for customers to get access to a resource or for us to be able to be a partner with somebody who's collecting information. So our own community services department actually proactively seeks opportunities to partner with other community departments. For example, they're currently in conversations with the Chesterfield Recovery Court to find ways to support participants through the library services. I've already mentioned the Rotary. All locations are now distributing those care kits. We also have some others just to highlight. You've already heard from the Chesterfield Food Bank. We actually are one of the distribution points for them for food distribution drives. Hygiene supplies, we help collect material for the mental health support services. Sleeping bags, gloves, hats, socks for the homeless population. We collect school clothing for the communities and schools, and then school supplies for the Chesterfield Airport, who's collecting that. We also provide innovative programs and services. I'm going to suggest up front that starting in 1993, the Virginia Library Association defined or dedicated a particular award called the Librarian of the Year. Chesterfield County has been the recipient of that a handful of times. Staff here in 2021, Dana Bomba actually won that award. More recently, this is Dana. She's right here. More recently, Kelly Stevenson, another librarian of ours, won that award in 2025. Again, you heard the data. We're sort of low on the side of the funding, but we're high on the side of delivering the service. And it shows because we hire really creative staff who are able to really make the best of those resources. We did win 5 NACO awards and 1 VACO award in 2025. One I'd like to highlight is actually, it won the award for this, get this, innovative in process, community engagement, community partnerships, learning, and literacy programming. That's an awful lot of stuff stuffed into one, and how did we do it? Chesterfield Library launched a targeted outreach program to address access barriers for predominantly Spanish-speaking residents of the Greenlee Mobile Home Park. Utilizing census data and ArcGIS mapping, the library identified this community as a good location to host quarterly pop-up library bilingual community engagement events that actually have increased the library card signups in that particular community by 47% and checkouts by 41%. We also eliminated the late fees, so the pop-up events, collaboration with partners like YMCA and Library Fostered Trust, and expanded its outreach. This data-driven, community-centric model demonstrates a replicable, that's what they like, strategy for extending library services to more residents, significantly enhancing community engagement and inclusion. Again, we have great staff that use all the resources available, the data made available, and come up with great things. Finally, our facilities, La Prade Library is scheduled to reopen in February. That's with an interior redesign. It's going to have a larger meeting room and so forth. That renovation was actually incorporated through a robust community engagement process. We included the community in the process of what needed to be done in the building, so we think we're giving a building back that actually reflects what the customers are interested in a library facility. That library meeting room was actually also used during the election. We understand that 1 in 5 early votes were cast at a library. We're really proud of our ability to do that. The new Enon Library, which is going to be adjacent to the Elizabeth Davis Middle School, that also included this robust community engagement process. This project's currently in design development. The bidding and procurement is supposed to happen by mid-September, and we believe completion will be done and operating by December 27. A few others just sort of on the fringe. Chester Library is scheduled for some major maintenance and renovations. We think that'll take about 6 months. Ettrick Matoaka will expand from 8,000 to 20,000 square feet. That's our standard approach for libraries now. Personally proud of that when we get that one done. Everything I started with is now 20,000 square feet. The Western Hall Street will accommodate growth in that particular area, but also it'll alleviate the impact on Clover Hill and North Courthouse, which are our 2 more busiest branches. We're also looking at the future to kind of redo something at Clover Hill and maybe even at Bon Air. We are also in the early stages of raising money with the Friends for a mobile library and outreach vehicle that'll allow us to kind of get into those pockets of areas, much like our program did in Greenlee. It'll have material, technology, staff, and so forth. We're just in the early stages of that, but we're very positive about the impact that's going to make. We'll sort of end with a picture of it's the way you push it, with the folks who were the winners in our summer learning game winners. We started with a total of 10,000 people who registered. That's actually up 27% from 7,800 from the year previous to that. That's sort of our story, and we're sticking to it. Questions? I know it's a really good story. What else do you say?
So La Prade was originally supposed to be January. We're off now, is that?
I'm sorry, I'm doing what was written on the page.
Oh.
Clay Bowles is responsible for that.
Thank you, Mike.
And if elected, I promise.
The construction will be done, it's the move-in period that's pushing us back a little bit. But we'll be ready for February.
Okay, so also,
Short timers can make those statements.
yeah. So also, with the mobile carts, maybe one of our ambulances that are past this, like they did with MERV, would be an awesome vehicle to possibly
We have
convert.
one.
Okay,
Yeah, they have already donated one to us. We're
Okay.
raising funds to either renovate that or buy a new. They're almost about the same cost. So we're in the process of, we drive that thing
Yeah.
out and it captures everybody's attention and they're anxious to donate.
okay,
Once we have the right amount of cash and we feel like we have the right approach, then we'll make a final choice of whether to renovate what we currently have or buy a new.
so you were able to wrap it, like, to make it look
We
like the
can
library?
make-
Okay,
you
yeah,
can do-
that's
There's a
awesome.
company in Ohio that actually takes
Okay.
old ambulances and
Okay.
wraps it and makes it just like what we want
Okay,
it to be.
all right, yeah.
When will the design be ready to view for the expansion of Edric Matoka Library?
I'm going to still say clay probably is more appropriate for that. Those are a ways out on the bond projects. We haven't really engaged in that yet at the staff level.
Yes, the design is not started for that project yet. I think we're probably about a year out from that one starting.
Okay.
Yep. But we'll follow the same kind of engagement process that Mike described on the other facilities once we're ready to kick that one off.
For the new and the western part of Hall Street, we already have a great design in the Midlothian or even the Enon, so perhaps
sir.
we'll be able to use one of those instead of having to pay to have another one done.
Yes, sir. I think they could potentially be just tweaked for that use. Yes, sir.
I'd rather us be able to do that. Those products are both great. There's no sense having to spend money to have a redesign. We already have two great projects
Okay.
to look at.
Yes, sir.
Can I add to that? The Enon model is different for us. Carolyn's led the charge on that. I think that is an example. Seniors, children highlight specific areas that are unique to specialized populations. Seniors, children highlight specific areas that are unique to specialized populations. Seniors, children, and so forth. So Carolyn's done a great job working with the community on that.
Like we got a plan already.
We're going to use some of my district improvement funds to put a trail around it too. So that library, really one of the things y'all said was that the libraries are really becoming more of a community center. And that's what, as I looked at the Enon design, that's what came to my mind when I visited Midlothian when it opened. That's what came to my mind is community centers that have books and other programming, not necessarily what most people would think of when we were kids for people, that have been around for a minute. It's just a different look. Like if you go to the current Enon Library or the Matoka Library, it's more of a feel of what you might think of from when you were younger. But today, what we're putting in is really community centers for that are going to do so much more and bring so many more people in. So I'm excited about that, and I appreciate how you do it with such efficiency. Thank you. Oh, you have something to look on?
Yes. Yes, sir. So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Casey, if I can, just as a quick addition to this work session, it's my great pleasure to recognize Mike as he will be retiring on December 31st after 23 years of dedicated service to the county and citizens. Before I do that, though, I'd like to also recognize Joan, his wife, who's with us today. So I think without question, Mike has really made a mark on the county and this library system. Looking through his resolution, just a few highlights. We talked about facilities a second ago, but quantifying that, we're almost doubling the amount of library space per capita during his tenure. Multiple renovations, rebuilds, and the construction of a new facility. Programming-wise, lots of examples of improved service delivery, a roaming customer service model to actively engage the customers out in the libraries as opposed to them having to come to the desk. Maker spaces, business development suites, improvements in technology, customer service, community services department, programming, and many, many others. I think also, as was mentioned, Mike has really fostered the growth of the professional staff in the library, adding degreed managers, assistant managers, and customer service supervisors. And I think, too, as a reflection of that, the library has grown locally, regionally, nationally, as evidenced by 65 professional awards from groups like NACO, VACO, Urban Library Council, Virginia Library Association, all of that culminating in our libraries being named 2022 Virginia Library Association Library of the Year. All of that coming right out of the end of a pandemic when service delivery always wasn't so easy. These are just a few of Mike's accomplishments. I'd like to personally thank Mike for all of his help when I came into this role and teaching me how libraries work, so I personally appreciate that. But with that, Mr. Chair, turn it back to you for any comments.
Thank you for your service. All right. Board members, any other questions or comments?
Thank you for all that you've brought to the county, Mike. I think we can see how much it's meant to you just to be here, and we greatly appreciate you putting your heart and your knowledge and your, I've talked to several people down at the Chester Library about how you affected that grandma and grandson that were living in the vehicle. I mean, I see your heart and I appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir.
I just want to say that I probably wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Chesterfield County Libraries. I spent a lot of time in the library. I went to Manchester High School, and after school, I would go there. It was a good, quiet place to read and to study, and a lot of great people there to help me find resources for research. And I'm grateful for the community that the library has helped. So thank you so much for your service, and those that work with you every day. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for doing a wonderful job. If you look at the information that was provided, some who believe that the libraries are of the past and not of the future, and they believe that not many people utilize the library system anymore, and those numbers show that it's just absolutely not true. And having worked the polls at one of the libraries at Clover Hill many times, having to listen to the people coming in and go, when is this going to be over? Because I want to use a library. And how many people are actually coming in to utilize the library? It's really something. And so, and a lot of it has to do with the creativity and how we're actually utilizing those spaces to engage with the community, and you've been in charge of that for a long time, so you've done a great job. So you have a lot to be proud of, and I know you look forward to being able to just go sit in the library and not necessarily going, hey, you're supposed to do this, right? You've actually be able to relax and enjoy. So congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to share a story in that typically when I was elected, I would have my meetings at Gather. And I was kind of hesitant about moving it, and Dr. Casey made the suggestion, why don't you try the Midlothian Library and see how that works? Now I'm in the library practically every day. It's vibrant, it's alive, the kids, everyone is in there, and just walking into, and not always when I walk in, does staff know that a supervisor just walked in, and it's the same all the time, smile, happy, welcome. And it just, Dr. Casey was absolutely right on. That's where you have meetings. So thank you for that. All you.
Before the chair may close this out, I just do want to personally thank you. I mean, you've made the county better. You've helped that morale factor. Your employees, I'm sure, are heavily respondent to those surveys. So thank you on behalf of the county for instilling that morale all the way through the chain. And thank you for your wife for enduring a 2 hours of work session. So I don't think my wife would make it this long. But I will say, my last time I visited the library, just as an example what libraries are, there was a class that was painting that had dementia, and they were mentored and tutored and by volunteers, but some library staff, and they had a gallery showing of their artwork. And these are people whose future days are tougher than their past days, but that particular day, they were just like happy, adults thinking that they've done something great, and honestly, the artwork was off the charts. And so it was just a proud moment for children of these parents who may have been suffering from dementia. You don't do that at other libraries in other localities. So thank you.
When I heard you were retiring, I called my college roommate, who's a librarian. He works at a university. I said, oh, there's a positioning opening up here in Chesterfield. His response was, there's no way I could do it. No way, because it means interacting with community every day in, day out, which could be very, very challenging. And he just said straight up, it takes a very special person to do the kind of work you've been doing. So thank you for that.
I want to thank you for setting a high bar and a deep bench in your department. When we hear that a department leader is looking to go to the next place in their life cycle, which I guess for you could be retirement or travel, whatever you're getting ready to do. For us, the first question we have is, is everything good? And we've been very pleasantly happy with all of the benches that our department heads have set, but you're one of those department heads that we really appreciate how much work you've invested into the people below you so that we can have confidence when you retire that we're going to continue to have wonderful reports like this into the future. So thank you for that work.
So I am an emotional person. I apologize. I am a storyteller. I do want to share this with you. My introduction to public libraries was that when I was 4 years old, my mother took me to the local public library that had opened in Parma, Idaho. And at that time, I selected a book called Time of Wonder, Robert McCluskey. Those of you who know children's books, he's a wonderful author. He painted, this was a great picture book. I took that home and turned those pages over the next week. I mean, introducing the Penobscot Bay to a boy who was in landlocked Idaho, potato fields, all that you could see. This introduced me to an idea that I didn't even know. So I was immediately in love with books and with public libraries. When I took the book back, I asked the librarian if I could renew it. She said, no, some other little boy or girl needs to have that book also. So I watched her check it in, put it on the new bookshelf, and then I just waited to see what happened. When nobody checked it out, I raced to that bookshelf. I grabbed that book and ran all the way home, hid it in the bedroom under the bed. When my mom found it, we hiked back to the library, and I apologized. And the librarian said, I can understand your interest in keeping that book at all costs. And I believe that has always stuck with me. So, I mean, I love what we've done here. I've hired good staff. I've delegated to those staff. I have great folks who work for me. Carolyn's been an exceptional assistant director. The staff we have at the department level are just very creative. So I've appreciated that you've allowed me to establish a standard and a strategy and a tactic. Staff have been very responsive to that. I love that that's what's happened. I will also say I'm turning 69 years old. I've spent 60% of my life in career pursuits, and I spent about 45% of my waking hours at work. I mean, I suspect that all of you do that. It's a little bit more because I'm a library director. It's a lot more if you're a county administrator. That's where I was headed, and then I thought I don't want to spend that much time. So I'm looking forward to reducing the amount of time I spend in career pursuits and increasing the time I spend with family. I do have a delightful wife. We have 5 great kids. They married 5 great spouses. We have 23 grandkids. When we go to Disney World, we are a crowd. We have lots of things planned. Again, I express my thanks to you, the county administration, folks who have been supportive of me in the last 23 years. This is a great place to end my career. I love the fact that I have staff, again, who have been very effective and very helpful. I will share this one quote. James Adams, the second president of the United States, said, "Let us dare to read, think, speak, and write." That was introduced to me years ago when I was a librarian, and I believe that I've stuck to that. I've loved having a career that's allowed that to be the focus of what I've tried to do, and Chesterfield Public Library has allowed me to live that, so thank you very much.